Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilot's YouTube channel. And here we have a front axle for the four-place airplanes. You'll notice that we have the fairing adapter in the left-hand side of it. That's for holding your fairing on. But the axle itself is made out of Alcoa aluminum in one solid casting. But then here's the fun part. I bought these at the AGAC auction in October of 1994, nearly 30 years ago. See how many I've used? Stay tuned for some more fun, ladies and gentlemen.
So we would like to ask you please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content.
You know, none of these parts are terribly exciting. Like this is the bottom bearing bracket support for a rudder, AA1 series through. But anyway, not a very exciting part, but until you need one. And then it's a very exciting part. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm going through the hangar, a lot of these are coming out of the old maintenance bay. And this is independent of Ken's parts. This is just stuff I've been bought and storing away over the years. Here is a late model AA1B latch. It's the preferred of the latch systems for the canopy and the two-place airplanes, but as luck would have it, I also found an original early model latch. So I have one of each. They are getting hard to find, but this is what they look like. As you can see, that AA1B version was much, much sturdier. I think that's what Rich is putting in his airplane. And then this is a final picture of one of the original early latches in the two-place airplanes. Have them both, folks. Now, these are just different bearing support brackets that we have on our airplane. One's an aileron support bracket. From the holes, you can tell about where they go. But anyway, we're just finding all sorts of fun stuff, including, like I said, the lower bearing support bracket for the rudder. And there's the part number in the box that we've been storing it in all these years. So we're finding some really interesting stuff. Now, here's one you normally don't see. Here's the electrical connector for your pitot heat. It's a 502-12 electrical connection. They're fairly expensive, and we have a couple in the box. So happy to have found those, ladies and gentlemen, because again, they very rarely ever go out, but when you do need one, you do need one. And of course, then here's a right-hand cover for the airplane. Covers the map light on the right-hand side of the co-pilot side of the fuselage, and it's got the bayonet GE bulb in the back for hooking up to your dome light and your panel dimmer, and away you go, having lights on your instruments from the sides. Lots of fun stuff. We found here brackets for the main landing gear. They're still in some packaging, and we have them with all the hardware and all labeled up. And just lots and lots of seat bracket hardware, because sometimes those seat brackets do break. We have fold down brackets. We've got just about every kind of bracket you can imagine. And then we have the electrical bus connections from the AGAC era. These are for both positive and for the ground, and they're nice to have because you install them in the airplane and you have all your 12 volts and all your ground in one place. And we've got an assortment of rocker switches that have been recovered from aircraft over the years as they've gone on to other types of switches. And again, we have panel light and dome light and glare shield light bayonet holders for your lights. So if you need those, we'll have those in the store. As you can see here, all kinds of fun connectors, fuses, just a bag of mixed parts for your electrical connections. And again, we're just going through all this and finding it. Now, here's not a very exciting part, but how about shim and spacer plates for your main landing gear to tow them in, tow them out as needed to be. And then we have the bearing support bushings that go on the rudder above the bearing to help it hold it in place. And we have one there, and we have the one that goes on the bottom. And there's another picture of the bevel on the top for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're finding some interesting parts there. And again, unless you've ever taken an airplane apart or had to extensively work on a piece of your airplane, you've probably never seen most of these. And these would qualify you probably for the expert in the name that part game. And then these came off the purple airplane, and I can tell they're back in the back on the elevator. And then here they are, both the top and the bottom, and all the bushings that go with it. You have a long and a short bushing for either side, and we saved them all. We put them in a bag so they don't get mixed up or lost. It's always nice when you can keep parts that have worn in together. And then for those of you who may not be a fan of breakers, here's your old style fuse hosers for those Edison fuses. Again, we're finding tons of stuff. We have bracket plates. We have a canopy handle, a bunch of extraneous hardware, a hinge, and of course, as Ken would smile when I say this, battery wing nuts. These are for the tie down and hold down bars, but they'll work everywhere. And then here's a bracket for your main landing gear. It gets bolted in, and it's a blind capture for one of your main axle floating bolts. But anyway, happy to find those because we'll be putting those together. For you Cheetah owners, you recognize this right off the bat. It's on the bottom of your cowling, and it's what you remove to change out or replace your air filter. And then some of the parts that we have in there, we've left the original labels on them again from an auction. And here's your bottom torque plate. It's a blind fastener for your main landing gear. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw some music in here for you to let you look at the rest of these parts, and I'll catch you on the other side. Hope you're having fun, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's that chrome ring that goes around the top of your nose fairing, keeps the rubber cover in place and keeps water out of your fork. Hope you found all these bearing supports and other bits and tidbits of treasures useful and informative. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day flying your Grumman.